Ben, it's really unusual for a buyer to be able to watch a developer who's pretty candid about what's going on. What other kinds of problems do you see in construction in the area that buyers should be on the alert for?
You mean generally?
Just in general, not getting into any specifics on anyone's project, but just general kinds of things that people should be concerned about.
That is a good question. It's well, I suppose you should look at the level of work. I mean, you know, if you're paying top dollar, then you should be getting top dollar work. If you're paying medium dollar, then you should be getting medium work. And if you're paying the low dollar, I think there you have to be the most careful. Then you should be getting low but adequate work. If they're not replacing things, for example, if they offer you a tub and they say they'll refinish the tub for you, that's probably a bad sign. Usually, and while I understand it's more expensive to take out tubs than to reglaze tubs, and I understand that there are certain houses where it's better to reglaze them than to take them out, generally your major appliance items should be replaced. You know, if they're not selling you a new stove, they're not selling you a new refrigerator, those are you know, warning signs that other things may have not been replaced. Here in our building...
Why would it be a warning? Suppose they just wanted to give me the option to get a lower price point.
Well, I understand, but for example, in our place, we have garbage disposals. When we first ran the building as an apartment building, there were no garbage disposals. But if you're going to just stick in a garbage disposal, you can't just stick it in. You've also got to replace your sewer line that accompanies that garbage disposal, because the requirements for a garbage disposal, there's all kinds of things you have to make it all sort of work out right. Here the laundromat was in the basement, and then when we redid the building, the laundromat, the washers and dryers, which incidentally are included in our apartments, are in the apartments. And here again, you've got to add new lines, and they've got to be adequate lines and the right size lines, and they've got to flow the right way, and it's all got to be, otherwise your soap suds are going to end up coming out your first floor neighbor's sink, and he ain't going to be happy about that. That's not going to work out right.
What kind of insurance covers that, doesn't it?
It's not a matter of insurance. We don't want insurance claims. We haven't had any insurance claims. That's what you want. What you want is no insurance claims. You don't want to hear about your upstairs neighbors leaking this, and in our building we do a complete gut rehab. All our stacks, I mean, with some exception, but generally if the stacks are sound, we keep them, and if they're not, then we replace them. And some are absolutely replaced, like the kitchen lines. For
people who might not be familiar with the term, you're talking plumbing.
Yeah, that's plumbing talk. We're in plumbing talk now. And of course, we go with, you know, solid copper for the water lines. But for example, if you go back to that painted tub, if he's not taking out the tub, well, does that mean he's giving you the old galvanized pipes? And there's nothing wrong with old galvanized pipes. My father's building's got old galvanized pipes. It's got great water pressure. It works wonderful. But you should know that that's what you're buying. And you should know that the life expectancy of those pipes is far shorter. You know, not because they're bad pipes, but because they're 80-year-old pipes. You know, if a pipe is 80 years old, well, you know, is it good for 100? Is it good for 120?
How are you going to know these things?
Well, you get a homeowner inspector dude, and when they come over, they have a checklist, and they know what to look for. And usually, there are places in the building where you can go to check the pipes, like in the basement. Usually when the pipes come out in the basement, you can kind of peek a little bit around there. And really, basically, I would say the best way to buy a house is to buy an unfinished house. If they're in the process of constructing the house, then your home guy can go over and he can see, like, here's a finished apartment, but here we have one that's under construction, and he can go look at the one under construction, and he can get a kind of a scope of the quality of work that's being done. And while every apartment varies, there are certain levels. You know, if you go into one of our unfinished apartments, you'll see lots of copper pipe and new this and new that, and it looks like it's supposed to look, as opposed to here's some galvanized, and here's this dilator that now they're going to stick in copper from the galvanized, and they're going to do this and that, and sometimes those things don't work out real well later.
Copper and galvanized don't mix well ever together.
It can be done, but it doesn't go well, and usually where the fittings are, there are problems, and they have to be replaced from time to time. Other things are much more subtle. When we redo our building, we make a point of trying not to put in rubber. Rubber is only good for about 20 or 30 years. And after that, then you got to go rip something open to fix it. Well, some people, they just stick it in, and we're not going to be here in 20, 30 years, so what do we care? But here again, maybe that's more of a philosophy. We expect our houses to be around about 80 years. We build for about an 80-year life expectancy. We understand that the refrigerator may not make it and certain other things have to be replaced, but the basic structure of the building, we really expect it to be around about 80 years. There's no reason a building can't be hundreds of years old. If you go to Europe, I went to Europe. I went to France and I went to Spain both. And it's amazing. I mean, 1640, and here's 1830, and here's 1712, and they have all these buildings that have hundreds of years on them, and they look brand new. I mean, they look better than brand new, better than our stuff downtown. Nice stuff, heavy brick stuff. Seems to be doing just fine.